Welcome to the Business Behind the Scene podcast with Francesca Moi, where we talk all about real business problems, real solutions, and getting actual results in your business. Hello everybody, and welcome to this bonus episode. Today we are sharing with you an amazing interview that someone did to me. So this is my story, my background, why did I start a business, how did I get to 1.5 million in 3.5 years, all the secrets, all the bits that I don't really often share. So I'm pretty sure that you guys are gonna love this episode, so go along and enjoy the journey from zero, literally, to 1.5 million in 3.5 years. Hope you enjoy. Bye.
Today, I'm excited to be interviewing the lovely Francesca Moi. Now, Francesca Moi is known as the Meetup Queen. Francesca is a best-selling author, social media strategist, global business and mindset coach. And Francesca has gone from $120 a month in her business to over $1.5 million. Serving a community of over 350 entrepreneurs who support and transform alongside one another. The results her clients experience inside the Mafia Academy speak volumes. It's not the normal mafia. We'll talk about that. Don't get a bit stressed about that. Her proven strategies take business owners from a one-to-one business model, trading time for money, into a profitable and scalable business online and offline. Not only that, Francesca is impacting the world globally with her virtual assistant program, matching time-poor business owners, gee, aren't we all time-poor, with social media superstars trained in these exact strategies. Francesca is the perfect example of how a mindset can transform your business, growing to serve her clients at the highest level so they too can grow. Welcome, Francesca.
Thank you, JJ. Thank you so much for having me. This sounds like it's going to be lots of fun.
Oh, it is. It is. It's definitely going to be full on energy. I can already tell that. Well, you're Italian, and my family, I love to cook. And one of my favorite things that I love to cook is Italian. Oh. And so we joke around my household that I'm the nonna. And I say to my son, when he has kids, that his kids have to call me nonna. And my son's saying, "You're not Italian, Mum. They can't call you nonna."
Why not? Yes, you can, for sure. You claim it.
I'm claiming it, that's for sure. So welcome, Francesca. I'm really thrilled. I've been to your events a few years ago. I went to one of your events, and I've got 2 books up here.
Yes.
I'll just show for the camera. So this one, Bums on Seats, I bought, which is fantastic, with the wonderful
Natasha
Denman. Yeah. And then also Follow Me. I've got both of them. So yeah, so I loved your events. So tell me, where did the title Meetup Queen come from?
Well, a lot of people think I'm a dating coach, and I'm like, if you know anything about me, I'm single, definitely not good at dating. So the Meetup Queen started, it was actually very organic. I was running meetup events, I was going to a lot of meetups, and I started to receive these comments from people going, "Oh my gosh, you're everywhere on Meetup, you're the Meetup Queen." And I was like, okay, one person said it, 2 people said. Eventually, after like 5 or 6 people, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna claim it. This is it. I am the Meetup Queen, people. And to be honest, JJ, it's sort of grown out of that phase of Meetup as such, but it sort of stick with me. Like, people still call me that, so I'm like, oh well, I'm gonna have it. I don't mind being the Meetup Queen. That's totally fine.
Well, you're good at bringing people together.
Yeah,
aren't you? And that's why you're so great as a coach and getting groups of people together and business owners going from one to one to one to many, because you're great at bringing those people together and networking and all that sort of stuff. And that's how I know you as well.
And it's so true. And I'm actually like, literally today I was walking my beautiful Ollie boy, the dog, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I should start another networking event. And I was like fantasizing, like, what would I call it and what would it look like and where would I do it? And I'm like, maybe this is my next thing.
So, and where are you based now?
In Bulimba, in Brisbane.
Oh, you're in Brisbane now. Were you always in Brisbane, or were you in Melbourne?
No, I was always in Brisbane, but Natasha's from Melbourne, so I was traveling to Melbourne a lot.
Ah, that's why I thought you were in Melbourne. Yeah, because
Yes.
Stretch in Melbourne. So tell me about your story. So where did you? Because I heard a little bit about your story when I was at your event, and I loved it. So
Yes.
tell the listeners a little bit about you.
Well, I am a normal human being. People think I'm a unicorn. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a normal human being, and I used to work in normal jobs, and I used to work in a reception at hotels, and I used to love it because I used to make like people's holidays, right? Like, let me look after you, and I love that. I love people, and I love making the holiday special. And I never ever in a million years thought I was going to be a coach or a business owner at all. And it's been fascinating because when I grew up in a family where my brother is a genius at music, and I was the one that never had anything special going on. And I thought I was a bit stupid and I wasn't smart enough, and all those things were going on in my brain. And it's just like eventually I was like, maybe there is more to life than just like hide and be an excuse maker and not achieve anything. Maybe I need to try something new. So I left Italy. I grew up in Italy, and I left Italy, and I went to live in London, and then Spain, and then Greece, and I kept traveling around until I realized that maybe I needed to stop running away. And I thought, because one more thing, I go to Australia, and then I come back, and I find that Italian husband, and that they will cheat on me, and all of that will happen. And when I got here, I met someone, and we fell in love, and that's when I thought, okay, this is it. I met the one. I'm gonna be married, and I'm gonna be a housewife, and this is what I was gonna do. And then it didn't work out. One day I woke up and I realized that I was just pretending to be happy. He was pretending to be happy. We actually wanted completely different things out of life. And
Yeah.
so I made one of the tougher decisions at the time, and I broke up. And so I left and went back to Italy, and then I realized, oh, I don't know if I can live in Italy anymore. I don't belong here. And so
Yeah.
this has been the thing for me, JJ. My whole life is like, where do I belong? I
Yeah.
grew up in a different city from where I was born. So I never really felt I belonged anywhere. It's been a journey to come home to me. That's where I belong. And it's been really interesting. So yeah, I decided to come to Australia, and then I decided to come back to Australia. And that's when I started my life coaching journey, and I became a life coach, and I made $120 in the first 9 months of my business.
Yeah.
Like, like true story, right? $120. And then I was like, shoot, now I got to go back to a job. I don't have any money left. Like, what am I gonna do? And
Yeah.
then I thought I'll give it one more shot. And I created a meetup group, and I created a Facebook group, and I started to post on social media, and boom, everything exploded from there. And yeah, the rest from there is history, right? Then I started to run meetups and teach people how to run meetups. And then I started the Amafia Academy, which stands for Meetup and Facebook International Academy. And I learn every step of the way. I just kept moving forward, blindfolded pretty much, and figure out along the way.
Yeah. What made you decide to keep moving forward? Because I'm a coach, and I love working with coaches, and I love, there's so many amazing coaches out there, and it breaks my heart, Francesca, when I see them stop doing what they're doing and stop helping people because they hit a brick wall, and I don't think anyone's immune from hitting a brick wall when they start out in business, because it's bound to happen. It's learning. Like, if you've never done it before, you don't know, so you don't know what you don't know. So there's always going to be a brick wall that you hit at some stage. What kept you going?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, the brick walls never stop.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thing that people don't understand, right? They're like, oh, once I get to the $1 million business, this is it. No brick walls. No, the brick walls are going to get even thicker and bigger and most scarier, right? Everything's going to be multiplied by a million. I was saying that to a client the other day. I was like, you're doing great. She's like, no, really, I'm not where you're at yet. I want to get there. And I said, for what? She goes, I just wanted to say that I'm a $1 million business. And I'm like, so what? So you can have $1 million problems? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Is that just an ego thing, or do you want to do it because is there a reason behind it? Like, because I did it for ego at the first time. So answering your question, I wanted to prove my dad wrong. I
Yeah.
wanted to prove that I was worth it. I wanted to prove that I could make it. I wanted to prove that I didn't needed to go back and to get a job. So sometimes people say when they meet me now, they're like, "Oh, you're different. You used to be very egoic and very like full of yourself, and now you're sort of more spiritual, more different." I'm like, I had to go through that
Yeah.
to get here, right? I had to leverage on my ego to go like, nothing is gonna stop me. It was very masculine, it was very driven, and I had to leverage on that to be able to go ahead. I didn't know any better. Now in hindsight, I know other things, but I didn't know at the time. So I had to do what I knew, which is just keep pushing, just keep pushing. So full stand back up, full stand back up. It was so strong in me, the need to be accepted by my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what, so with being accepted by your dad, do you feel accepted now, or do you feel that you were always accepted, but you just didn't feel that?
Yeah, that's a very good point, DJ. Look, to be honest, my dad is an amazing character, and dad is always accepted me in non-accepting me.
Yeah.
So dad has always been very tough, and he still is, and is now. I have proven to him, which is good to know. And sometimes I'm thinking, Dad, now you're biased. Like it was nicer when you were not, so that you would give me tough time, like, so then I would think harder and make things happen. Right now, it's just all too easy. Like you just trust everything I do. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Fascinating, right? So my dad and I always had a bit of an interesting relationship. We don't agree in a lot of things, and we still don't. But my dad always accepted me in non-accepting me. That's the best way I can explain it. So I challenge him. I always have, and I always will.
I'm sure he challenges you too.
Yes, oh, definitely.
So what have been your biggest lessons in business?
Oh, how much do we have? Do you want to see here for like a year? I can tell you all stories. Look, there's been so many. I believe the business is a spiritual journey. So if you're not willing to see the true self, don't get in business because it will come out, right? It will come out of. It's impossible to hide in business. It's just not going to happen. So even if I was hiding in the beginning, I was running the business by ego. I had to eventually face myself and be honest with myself and find the truth. So my biggest oh geez, what was the question?
Your biggest lessons in business.
Biggest lesson. Oh my goodness. I'm like, where?
I'm telling you now,
My biggest lesson would be learning how to really like, oh Jesus, so many lessons, really hard one. Probably learning how to be accepted, like accept myself first and foremost, because I was always trying to be liked by others, by like clients didn't like something, let me change it, let me please you. I was such a people pleaser that I was actually doing a disservice to a lot of people. So my biggest lesson is to don't do things for others, do things for what you believe is best. I think that is probably one of the biggest lesson. But to be honest, JJ, there's so many, right? There's so many lessons that every step of the way, even like the other day I had a lesson, like just every day I get a lesson and I learn. And I always wonder like what is right and what is wrong. And I don't believe in that question in like universal and right or wrong. I just believe like what is right for me in this moment, and maybe it's wrong tomorrow, right? I'm okay to make decisions today that tomorrow I might not agree with, but today I fully believe that, and so I'm not going to make that decision.
Yeah. And I love you talking about because I can see myself in you when you were talking about being, wanting to be liked and being the people pleaser. And I think that in business, the more you stand out, the more you put yourself out there, and the bigger your tribe gets. You have to, and you're running events, which you run events. There are people that are just not a match for you. And I remember when I first started my big events, and I do free events, I had to psychologically, Francesca, I had to psychologically put in my head and say, okay, well, at lunch break, some will not come back, right? Because it's a free event. And so people, you know, there's no commitment for them. So I had to get my brain right to go, okay, it's okay, because they're the people that aren't my tribe. They're not a match. And that's a good thing, because they're the people that are actually hard to work with, because you're not suited for each other.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And this is what one of the biggest thing is, when I've learned so much in the last 7 years, is like, I used to make people do things. I'm like, I'm a coach. I'm a different coach from other people. I'm going to make you be successful. I'm going to make you do things that you don't want to do. And then I found that that was also not the right way to do it, because you can't make someone do something. Like, you got to show them, teach them, but you got to let go and let them go through their path. And sometimes that path means hating on you because you show them parts of them that they don't want, they're not ready to see. And so the other thing that I had to learn is like, am I okay being hated? Because I've got haters. Oh boy, I've got lots of them. And it's part of the journey. And I think that at the beginning, a lot of business owners don't move forward in the business because they're afraid of the haters. They just want to stay in the liking zone.
Yeah. And I think, you know, if you don't stand for, you know, if you don't stand up for anything, then you're not being a true, authentic self. And I think, you know, when you were saying about your journey in business and how you've changed, and I've felt that as well with myself. And it's to me, it's like being more authentic. It's like, okay, this is who I really am. Like, warts and all, here I am.
Look, I agree with that, JJ. And who I used to be, it was also who I was back then.
Yeah.
Right? So I love it when people say to me, Francesca, you're so much more authentic now. I'm like, well, I think I was authentic then. I was who I was then. And I'm evolving as a human being. And that's the new version of me. And that maybe you resonate more with this part. That's why you feel that this is more authentic. But that part was definitely authentic. That Francesca didn't give a shit about anybody. She would just go for it, right? She wanted success and she just went for it. Doesn't mean that she was, I was authentic with that version of who I was. And then I found a new version of me. And this is the new authentic. So I love that, because when people tell me you're more authentic now, I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. I think that was always authentic with where I used to be. I wasn't liked maybe as much. Right. But that is the journey, right?
Yeah, exactly. How have you gone through COVID? So there's been, you know, the last couple of years has been so challenging. How have you gone through that process with your business and with your tribe?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And to be honest, have I gone through it? I don't know. Is it over yet?
Yeah.
Are we there yet? I don't know. I honestly, I think that was one of the biggest roadblock, because I was living in La La Land. I was like, I made it. Business, it's easy now. We know what we're doing. I was tired. I was working very hard. So I was looking for a way out of working that hard. I was looking for a new model of business anyway. But because I had it so easy, I wasn't really focusing on trying to change it. So I do feel that COVID happened for me because it made me find other ways to do business rather than doing it the way that I was doing it. So if for your audience, if they don't know, I used to run national tours. I used to do only face-to-face events. My business was face-to-face. So COVID came and like, you can't do events. I'm like, no, what? No. I'll do events all the time. Like, you can't say that. So it was scary. It was terrifying. And to be honest, I'm very proud of how I was able to pivot. So because obviously I had volume. I had over like 200 people in my academy when COVID hit, right? So I had lots of people in it. So that took me a couple of years to sort of make it smaller and smaller, right? Because obviously people were on payment plans, were committed for 12 months, right? Some people are renewed for the second year. So the first, probably in 2019, 2020, I didn't feel that much difference because I had so many people already in my community. I created new programs, I created new courses. So all of that was working well. So I had to reinvent what I was doing, but it was all within the community that I already had. What happened is that 2020, so that's 2019, 2020, 2021 was still good. The end of 2021 and 2022 has been the hardest part ever. this financial year. This has been the hardest part, because now you are, for 2 years I haven't been face to face with people. So I'm sort of like, I had to reinvent everything, go online. But online we can't do as many events, right? Before I could do events in every city and do 8 events in 8 weeks. Now you can do 1 event a month. So it's sort of like, it changes numbers, it changes the business. Lots more people have gone online, so there's more perspective. So it has changed, and I found myself hanging on to dear life. Like, I don't want this to change. Everybody, give me back my business. I got through anger. I think I got through the whole, like, the grief process, right? To let go of the business as it was. And I started to look at what else I can do. So we have launched successfully an agency. So we do a virtual assistant agency now. And we find and train virtual assistant for businesses that don't necessarily need my academy, but they just need help in their business.
Yeah.
So JJ, I think that now the agency is probably the main part of the business, the main income, and the academy is becoming more my fun project.
Yeah, brilliant. And I again, I resonate with you not wanting to, because you're a real people's person and so am I. And I actually, and I don't know if you felt like this, Francesca, I was like, I can't do this online. Like, I really resisted it, because I'm a huggy person. You know, you get into the room and, you know, there's so much excitement in the room, and, you know, you hug and you see, and, you know, I teach, part of my business is teaching public speaking training. And so I'm like, I can't do that online. You know, it's impossible. And so I was like resisting, and just like you. And then I started to go, okay, well, I'm going to have to do it online. And then I actually started loving it as well. And I'm thinking, parts of my business, particularly there's some parts in my business that I'm thinking, why did I not do this sooner?
It's fascinating when we are faced with reality and there's no other way around it. We have to do things in a different way. And at the end, we'll go, oh, actually, this is not that bad. And so even my clients were like, no, we're not doing the 3-day workshop online. We're not coming. We're going to wait until COVID finishes. I'm like, you could wait forever. We don't know when this is finished. So we're moving online. You do whatever you want. And then they came along and they're like, oh, wait, this is actually good. I don't have to pay for flights, accommodation. I can just have Francesca in my house. This is actually work out for me. And now, I don't know you, but now it's the opposite. We're struggling to get those people to actually show up in a face-to-face event. So I did a conference in February, and I had to do a split, half face-to-face and half on Zoom, because people were not willing to travel.
Yeah. It's just it's a whole new culture change, isn't it?
Yeah. Different world. And if we don't adapt quickly, the business is going to die, right? So very important. We've got to be adaptable in business. And I for a second there, maybe more than a second, I wasn't. I was like, no, I'm hanging on to this. I even don't tell anybody, but I even did.
I think some people might listen, but anyway, tell me.
I even did, my last event was literally like a borderline with okay, this is your last event. You can't do any more events. It's like, are you really allowed to do events? And I'm like, why not? Nobody told me that I can't. Like, it's all over social media and the news. I'm like, I don't watch news.
It just happened.
Don't know what you're talking about. I was just so oblivious. I did not want to hear it. I'm like, no, I'm doing events. And so I remember still my last event, I think it was mid-March. There was literally borderline to okay, you can't do any more events. And that was it. And for 2 years, I didn't do a face-to-face event. I was like, no. I was still doing events though. Actually, I'm lying. I used to do events still, even for 2 or 3 people. I'm like, I don't care. I'm still doing them. I was so stubborn. I didn't want to let them go.
I did it the whole first year. So in and out. Like I'm a bit of a risk taker as well. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm thinking hardly anyone else is doing events, but any pocket that I could do it, I just throw it in an event. So I did that for the first 12 months. And then once it got to the stage where You know, and I've got really strong values around who can come into my room and who can't. And so for me, everyone can come into my room. And so when there's that border of, hey, you know, there's that discrimination that I felt, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, you know, everyone's welcome in my room. And so that's when I started to go, no, I'm going to have to go online so that everyone, so I don't have to, and I wouldn't, you know, say people couldn't come into my room. So
yeah. And the other thing, it was like a bit devastating for me. Like, I did an event in February, and then we left the event. Everybody was so happy. Everybody was so in love. And then everybody had COVID.
Oh, no.
And then I felt, no, I don't know if I can do that again. I don't know if I can bring that to, you know, like, be responsible for that. And I mean, we're not gonna start to talk about what's happening in the world, but, you know, it's sort of affecting as business owners. Like, my clients were coming to me going, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. How can I tell you what to do? I have no idea what we're gonna do. So it was definitely challenging. I'm not gonna lie. I do believe it was for my best, because I've discovered a part of the business that probably I would have always pushed it back. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. Oh, I don't know. So I think that's quite a blessing at the end of the day.
Yeah, same. And you talked about your change in regards to spirituality. What does that look like for you?
Well, I do believe that business is been my biggest mentor. My own business has been my biggest mentor, because I had to face lots of different things that I often didn't want to go through. Like, one time I got taken to court, and I was like, not doing that. Here, take the money back. I don't want to go to court. And I was like, what if there's a lesson there? What if there's a lesson for me? What if there's a lesson for the other person? And so I went through court and I won. And that gave me that feeling of going, you know, that little brain that tells us you're doing something wrong. Like, you know, you're not allowed to do this or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, I'm teaching a course, and if people are not willing to take the steps, then it's not my fault, and I need to release that responsibility. So all of those things were my biggest teacher of, I always a believer that everything happened for a reason. So instead of running away from it, I need to face it. And that was one of the example, right? That there was a lot of embarrassment, or going to someone take you to court, like, you must be a bad person. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to share it, because sometimes people don't realize that. And nowadays we're so afraid of the customer, right? We're so afraid of, you know, they're going to take us to court, they're going to put a bad review, they're going to do this. And I'm like, do it. Put a bad review. That is totally fine. At least it looks like it's authentic. If I have only positive reviews, looks like I'll be fake, right? So it's like, go for it. Like, hate me and do whatever you need to do. I know that I will be, as if you're willing, I could be a learning process in your journey as much as you are for me, because obviously we're a reflection of each other. And so for me, the spirituality came from studying and doing lots of courses, and keep digging in who am I, and how am I showing up into this business, and why do I do things, and why do I make decisions this way? And you know, people look up to us, right? We're coaches, we're leaders. So I have, for me, a duty of becoming the best version of myself. And so at one point I found out that I was lying. I was lying to myself, and I was lying to others, because I didn't want to look perfect. I was like, no, look, I am not that good. Do you see how I am overweight? So at one point in my life, I was about 22 kilos overweight. And I did it subconsciously, because I didn't want people to think that I was perfect. I'm like, no, look, I'm good in business, but I'm not consistent in my eating. I'm not consistent in exercising. And that's why I'm overweight. And so I was like, wait. You walk your talk, woman. You tell people that they got to be consistent in business. You got to be consistent in food. And so I started a process, and I lost 22 kilos.
Wow.
Without even knowing that I could lose 20 kilos. At the moment, I actually put on back about 6. And I'm like, no. So now I'm back to going, no, this is another excuse. Like, I know that I can maintain it. I've maintained it for 2 years during COVID. Definitely I can maintain it now. So it's another process of going, where else can I stretch myself? If I'm teaching clients that have to stretch themselves, I need to find places in my life that I got to do that, to be the example, and also to become the better version of myself. If I am here as a leader, I need to walk my talk in every area of my life. So yeah, so that's what I think that spirituality looks like for me, is walking my talk and looking at the truth of the person that I am.
Yeah. I love your story about the court, because I think that there are times that we've got to hold our ground as well. And as a coach, I think it's so easy for, one of the big watch outs I have, Francesca, is if someone comes to one of my events and they say to me, I've seen Tony Robbins and didn't get much out of him. I've been to Kerwin Ray, didn't get much out of him. And they blame everyone else.
They don't come to me.
Their results. And I think this industry, because I know how great you are, Francesca, and I know how great, some other coaches are that I've worked with. And I can actually look at every training that I've gone to as a participant, and I've always got something out of it.
Always.
There's probably one speaker that I saw years ago who I didn't align with at all, but I still got stuff out of going to the event. But I think
at least you learn what not to do, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so, but I think it's so important. And one of the things through COVID that I learned was that you had to take a stand. And I don't know how, when COVID hit and people started to freak out. And I know for myself, I had to really stand my ground, because I had people at some point, I think it was like 1 week, ringing up and saying, can I cancel? I need my money back. And, and they're wanting their money because they're scared of what's going to happen with COVID. And I had to say, I'm sorry. Like, I had to stand my ground, because if I did that with everyone in my business, I wouldn't have a business anymore. So I wouldn't be able to help anyone anymore. So I think there's that balance of, learning. And definitely for me, I had to do that over COVID and actually really stand my ground. And there's one question I always ask myself when I make decisions like that. And it's, is it good for me? Is it good for others? Is it good for the greater good? And that really helps me decide whether I'm doing the right thing. And that I went through that process, because I thought, if I start making these decisions, then I'm not going to be able to help anybody.
And that's not going to be good. And this is the thing, is as people pleasers, for me, was the hardest thing. So as soon as COVID hit, I had a retreat in Italy booked, and I had about 7 people that already paid, and I already paid for the accommodation. It was over $25,000 of accommodation in Italy. I paid in full. I was done. I was ready to go, and then COVID hit. So I'm like emailing them, going, what's going to happen? Can you move it to 6 months? So I said to my clients, no refunds. We're going in 6 months time. 6 months time, yes, it wasn't happening. So I'm like, okay, move it for another 6 months. And then I'm like, hey, if it doesn't happen in 6 months, I might need a refund, because what am I going to do? And they said, we don't give refund. I'm like, but my clients started to ask me for refunds. I'm like, what do I do? So I started to get those clients put themselves together, and they were like, we want a refund, we want a refund. And it was so loud and was so echoing that I just went, oh my gosh, I don't know. Okay, here. And I just refunded everybody without having the refund of the actual venue, right? So I still was $25,000 in loss, and I had to refund all these people. And as you know, we charge more than what we pay there. So I'm like, I'm out of pocket here, people. What am I going to do? And it was terrifying. It took me another probably 18 months after that to get my money back, and I didn't get all of it. So that was another lesson of going, listen, if they went to a bigger company, they wouldn't have been abusing them and calling them names because they're not giving a refund. It is what it is, right? COVID is hitting all of us. And so I was like, that was what made me decide, no, sometimes being generous is not going to be good for the business, and I need to make a decision for the business, not just because I like some people or want to please them or whatever that is. So honestly, I think that the COVID really helped us face with our own insecurities and the things that we were not facing to look at, because it's easier just refund someone and keep them quiet than go through the things. So no, actually, this is our policy. We have no refund policy.
Yeah, exactly. What would you say to business owners that are finding it challenging right now? What would be your top tips for them?
So I believe that finding something challenging is a choice. So I believe that we can we can work on our mindset and our brain and our thoughts to be able to change the way we perceive what is happening. So
Yes.
every challenge, if you want to still call it challenge, is an opportunity for us to see what's working, what's not working, and then how to tweak it. And a lot of the time, JJ, people they jump to conclusion too fast, right? I've been doing this for 3 minutes and it's not working, and I just go, well, try to go on a diet for 5 minutes. It's not going to work. You can go through probably like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks that you get no results, and your brain is going to tell you, what's the point? Might as well eat, right? So it's about that, keeping that brain consistently on the what you want, on that goal, and no matter what happens, just still keep going, keep working, keep being consistent. So one of my biggest thing is consistency and discipline. So being disciplined and take action, but real action, not action of working behind the computer for the next 8 hours, for the next 20 days, and not showing up on social media, not going to networking events, not to go and seek for clients. You got to put yourself in front of people to be able to get clients. So my biggest suggestion is consistency, discipline, and work on their mindset. Those are the 3 things that I don't think anybody can survive in business without those 3 things.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and how can people get in contact with you? How can they follow you? You're on Insta. I mean, you're the meetup queen. You're everywhere, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. You can join me, of course, on Instagram, Francesca Moi, and on my personal profile on Facebook. I'm quite active on there. I do have a Facebook group as well that you can join. It's called Workshop Secret for Coaches, and we do a lot of training in there for free. So we can do that. We are about to start a new Facebook group for our new business, which is the virtual assistant agency. So that will be another thing that will come up. But for now, I'll say those are the things that you can find me. I've got a podcast that is quite cool as well. It's called Business Behind the Scene. It's on Apple, on Spotify, whatever you listen to it, you should find it. And those are the things, the places, and when it's meant to be, we'll meet anyway. I believe that.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your beautiful insights. And now we've got some fun questions for you. And
yes,
you've got some for me.
I do.
which is exciting. All right. So I call them the 10 speed fun questions. So Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So the first one's easy. What's your favorite book that you've read?
Oh, how that's easy. That's so difficult because I got so many. Okay, probably my favorite book would be The Queen's Code. The Queen's Code of Armstrong, Alison Armstrong. Oh, so good. I think every woman should read that book.
Okay, I'm just going to write that down. I haven't read that one.
The Queen's Code. So what do we do? One question each, or are you going to shoot your 10?
Well, I'm going to shoot them all to you.
Okay, go.
What hidden talent have you got?
Hidden talent, then salsa.
Oh,
I love dancing.
I can see you doing the salsa. Most interesting celebrity you have met, and why were they interesting?
Celebrity, probably Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
Tony Robbins, and is my idol. Is everything I ever dream of. I think it is the reason why I'm a single. He put the standards way too high.
And I remember those of you that are listening, how you got to meet him backstage. I remember that and seeing that whole process by selling his tickets. So you find a way, girl. You find a way.
Always be resourceful, right? If you want to get something.
Who would play you in a movie?
Who I would play in the movie, or
who would play you in the movie? Because you're the star. Who would play you in the movie?
Oh, geez, how do you answer that question? Monica Bellucci is an Italian. Yeah, she's so amazing.
Beautiful. I was thinking of is it Sophie Langora?
Sophia Loren?
Yeah. No. Sophie Loren. Yeah, her too. Okay. If you were asked to cook a dish, what would you cook and why?
Okay, so depends if I am me now. So for 3 months, in the last 3 months, I've been very naughty. So I would say like lasagna or pizza, all those things. But that's why I'm 6 kilos over, right? Yeah.
Do you love to cook?
I do love to cook. Yeah.
Who has been one of your biggest mentors?
Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins is definitely my biggest mentor. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you love his book, Awaken the Giant Within?
I've never read it.
Oh my gosh. That's if someone asks me what my favorite book is, that's it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh my gosh, I am not someone that eats things that I don't know. This is my biggest secret. Nobody knows. I'm very fussy eater. So if I don't know what it would be like, I wouldn't eat it. So I don't know how to answer that question because I don't think I never ate anything that looks dodgy.
Okay. What's your favorite place? Where's your favorite place to travel?
Bali.
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 Have you got a word? Some people have a word for each year. Have you got a word for 2022? And if you haven't, what word would you have?
You know what? This is hilarious. I do have a word and I probably forgot it now, but every year we choose the word for the year after. And I don't know, it's June. So I'm like, I probably forgot this word, but I think that it was restructuring.
Yeah, great.
It would be.
And what legacy do you want to leave?
I want people to know that they can do anything they want. It's possible. Success is possible to every single one of us. There's no one special more than others. Every single one of us can do that. So my legacy is to really allow people to get out of the way 9 to 5 and just believe that they can do whatever they want.
Beautiful. Love it. Love it.
Thank you. All right, I've got mine.
Hey, my turn. Ooh.
All right, you ready?
I'm always nervous when I get my 10 questions.
Oh, you asked for it.
I know, I do ask for it. I like to live with uncertainty.
If you were an animal, which one would you be?
Oh, and this is going to sound funny. Not weight-wise, but an elephant.
Why?
I just think they're so majestic. I love elephants. And I also love, if I had two, it would be an elephant or a dolphin because I love dolphins.
Dolphins. I love dolphins too. Okay, good. If you can be anything for today, what it would be?
If I could be anything for today.
For one day.
Oh, if I could be anything for one day.
Or anyone. Yeah.
I'd be a fly. And I just fly around and listening to all these different people. And I'd fly around the world, be in Tony Robbins' house, just watching.
Oh, you just got me there. I will love that too then. Okay, describe yourself with one word.
Passionate.
I like that. Who's your favorite cartoon character?
Tweety Bird.
Oh, cute. What's your favorite childhood play?
Childhood play? I don't know a childhood play.
Or cartoon?
A cartoon would be, I'd say Tweety Bird again.
Yeah, same. Okay. Did the tooth fairy ever give you money for every tooth you lose? I don't know.
I didn't get much money.
Okay. But you got some. That's good. I got none.
Yeah.
What's your favorite type of holiday?
Tropical, near the beach.
Okay. Which Disney princess can you relate to?
Probably I say Cinderella. I don't know why.
Oh, cute. Have you watched Disney's Encanto?
No.
Oh, so you don't want to talk about Bruno?
I don't know Bruno.
There is a song that goes, "We don't talk about Bruno."
Oh. No, I don't want to talk about Bruno.
Okay, then it's not funny. But probably if you guys are watching this and you watched Encanto, that probably was a funny question. I hope so.
Was that 10?
That was 10.
Oh, easy. I got off the hook. Phew. Sometimes I get hard questions. Thank you so much, Francesca. And what's your podcast called again? Because I'm going to get onto it.
Yeah, Business Behind the Scene.
Business behind the scene.
Yeah, let me know which one is your favorite episode. I always love to ask that question.
Yeah, awesome. Fantastic. Well, I'll start listening to that as well. Thank you so much, Francesca.
Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure interviewing you and learning about you. And I know that the listeners will have a lot of value from listening to your advice and your story, which is so inspirational. So thank you so much. And,
Thank you.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll have you on the show again.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. See ya.
Ciao. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, then you have to come to check out our Facebook group, Workshop Secrets for Coaches. It's a community of over 9,500 coaches that are ready to boom their business by running workshops. They are stuck in one-on-one coaching and they're ready to start to go one-to-many. So if you are one of those coaches, then you have to join us. I look forward to see you there. And hey, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and leave me a review to win a ticket to one of my workshops. I look forward to see you there.